Hello, my name is Molly. I'm the Associate Director of Community Impact for Small Businesses at United Way of the Battle Creek and Kalamazoo region. And I'm here today to show you how to complete an application for the Kalamazoo Micro-Enterprise Grant Program. I'm going to share my screen and navigate to the United Way homepage, which is changethestory.org. And we'll want to find first the small business support page. In order to find that, we'll go over to what we do, and in the drop-down menu, you want to go down and click on small business support. That'll take you to our small business support page where you can access information for all three of our programs, the Loan Fund, the Health Protection Grant, and the Kalamazoo Micro-Enterprise Grant Program. So I'm going to click on the box that says Kalamazoo Micro-Enterprise Grants, and that'll take me to the information and application page for that program. On this page, you'll be able to learn about the program, the background. You'll learn about the eligibility requirements, as well as the required documents, and you can also find our contact information on this page. A little further down, there's also a link available where you can search your address to find out if you're located in the city limits of Kalamazoo, which is an eligibility requirement of our program. So the application will be available beginning at 8 a.m. on April 11th this year, and you'll be able to click here and start an application. So I'm going to demonstrate how to do that by clicking here, which will take you to our EC Impact login page. If you've applied for anything with us before, you should have an account with us and should be able to sign in with your username and password. If not, scroll down a little bit and you can click on this green button to create a new EC Impact account. We have another video on how to do that that's available. For this one, I'm going to log in with my small business test account and click sign in to our secure server. That will take me to my application home page, and it shows me at the top what applications I have already requested or completed, which right now I only have the health protection grants. So to find the micro-enterprise grant application, I'm going to want to go over to the left and navigate down to the apply report box and click on request an application. This will give you a list of currently available applications. So first we see the loan fund is available, and next we see the Micro-Enterprise Grant Fund. This will give you a background, the purpose of the grant, our guiding principles, and again, some contact information. So in order to just select that application, we'll click this radio button and then scroll down to the bottom of the page past the other applications and click continue. The next page shows again the summary and our guiding principles, and at the bottom is the qualification form. This is intended to check your eligibility for this program. So it'll ask you a series of questions about your business address. It needs to be within the city of Kalamazoo. So for this, I'll say yes. Your business also needs to be operating in the city of Kalamazoo for at least 1 year. You'll need to indicate if you have 10 or fewer employees and if you have less than $1 million in annual revenues. We'll need to make sure that you're a for-profit business, as nonprofits are not eligible, and it will ask if you received this grant, which we call KMEG, in 2021. We'll say no, and the reason for that is that folks can get this grant every other year. So folks who received the grant in 2020 are eligible to apply in 2022, and folks who received the grant in 2021 can apply again in 2023. So with those questions answered, I'm going to click next, and then it will ask me to review my answers and make sure that it's still correct. So we'll make sure I answered yes and no to the correct questions and click complete registration. And then with the green bar, I can see that my request for applying to this program was successful and that I can log in again at any time and work on this application. You definitely don't have to complete it all in one sitting. You can log in and out and work on it as long as you need. So again, we'll share the background, the purpose of the fund, our guiding principles, and our contact information, and you'll get another summary of your qualifying questions. So we'll click continue and get back to my application homepage. And now I can see that the Micro-Enterprise Grant Fund application is available on my account. So I will go ahead and scroll to the bottom, and all of our applications, you need to scroll to the bottom of the page to work on it. So again, it's got the same information we shared in the qualifying and previous questions. And here we see our application status and a progress bar. So right now we haven't worked on anything. We're not started. And so we haven't worked on either part of the application. There's a written portion of the application at the top and organizational uploads, which are documents to support your application in the second half of the application. First, I'll click on the written portion and navigate to that. Everything marked with an asterisk is required, and a lot of the information that you entered in your account will be populated in this as well. So first, it'll ask for your business name, then the applicant name, which doesn't have to be the owner. If it's not, we'll want you to say yes or no. I will say that I am vice principal. And Principal Jones is the owner of the business. It populated my address and all the other contact information that I've provided. It does ask us for the neighborhood, and our office is in the Vine neighborhood. Ask for your tax ID number, a contact email, and then we'll go to business type. We have options for corporation, partnership, LLC, and proprietorship. Please select whatever applies to you. I will say proprietorship. And then we'll ask about some demographic information. So your racial ethnic identity, I am white, and then our gender identity, and I will say non-binary. It will ask if there's an additional owner. I'll say no. And again, we need to be in business more than 1 year. So you can put 1 here. I will go ahead and put 2. Next, we'll ask about business information and ask you to select your business industry. I will say service and say application assistance. Please provide any information here that's relevant to your business about what your daily activities are in your operations. Next, they'll ask us about gross annual sales in 2020 and 2021 and your 2020 net profit or loss. This is just information that we use to measure the impact of our grant making, and it's not reported externally. So I'm going to say 5,000 in 2020 and 6,000 in 2021. And then I had a profit of $1,500. I suggest using the gross annual sales or revenues on your Schedule C if you file your business taxes under a 1040 or personal tax return. That alignment is helpful. Average weekly sales, we'll say $50. Make your best guess here if you don't have a weekly sales number. Next, we will ask about, does this business have employees? If you click no, no other questions will appear about employees. But if you click yes, then we'd like to know a bit more about your employees and whether you pay payroll taxes. So I'm just going to say I'm the only employee. We can put zeros and all the others. Will the organization continue to pay employees? This is a priority of our program, but you can say yes or no. So I'll say yes. Annual employee payroll, since I have very low sales, I'm going to say 500, and then I'm going to give myself $5 a week. I'm going to say yes, our payroll taxes are current because I'm salaried. Hourly, commission, and tips, sometimes those folks are not on payroll. Does the business have a bank account? Yes, I do. And I will say one of our local credit unions. The last part of the application is the written portion where you can provide a bit more information about why you're requesting this grant. So we'll first ask if you have applied or received any other financial support from local, state, or federal sources. I will say yes, and then I will say that I received an EIDL loan of $4,000 and a PPP loan of $5,000, whatever is relevant to your business. There may be other local grants that you have received or other programs you requested support for. The purpose behind this request is really to understand how the United Way is supporting businesses in the network. Next, we'll ask about the financial position of your business, specifically about the financial hardships you have endured because of COVID. So that's often a shutdown period, or lost employees, or lower than expected revenues. So please explain what happened to your business financially and whether you experienced any hardships because of COVID. It is okay to say that you've done better because of COVID, as that has happened in some instances. And the last question in this section is to ask, how would these grant funds be used by the business? The grant funds can be used for any operational costs, such as rent, payroll, operating expenses. So I'm going to say payroll for 6 months for existing employee, which is me, and additional employee to be hired. So because my revenues are so low, a $5,000 grant would definitely help me bring on another person. So every page you go to will have these similar options. You can save your work, which I recommend doing frequently. You can save your work and return to the previous page, or when you're fully wrapped up with this section, you can save your work and mark as completed. If you haven't completed a required element, the system will notify you that and not let you mark it as completed. So for sake of preventing that error, I'm going to save my work and return to previous page. And now we can see that the progress bar has moved into the orange category in progress because we've worked on the first part of the application. Next, I will go over the organizational uploads, which is the documents that you will need to add to support your application. So in each box, you'll see the requested document, which I'll go over. And then if you click browse, it'll search the files on your computer, and we've listed out the accepted file types that we can have. So we'll need a front and a back of any government issued ID. That can be a driver's license or a passport or an ID card. We'll need at least 1 year of tax returns. So whatever your most recent tax return is, you can add here. Other requested documents include a copy of the most recent payroll tax return. This is only if you are required to pay payroll tax, and this may be applicable really for corporations only or in organizations that have salaried or on-staff employees. It's usually not required for contract employees. Similarly, we'll ask for a list of your employees. You can just list their names or their names and their positions, or print out a payroll summary if that's easier. We'll also ask for a government document such as articles of incorporation, a business license, or a DBA. This is what we call business registration, and is asking to know if you have registered your business with a government entity. This is required for any application. So if you don't have articles of incorporation, a license from the county or state, or doing business as certificate from the county, we can also accept an employer ID number letter from the IRS. And I'm happy to work with you if you have more questions about what is required for this document. And then lastly, if you're an LLC or corporation, you will be asked to upload your corporate bylaws. And the intent behind this is to know if you are awarded a grant, whether there are additional owners that need to be signatories on that agreement. So I'm going to demonstrate really quickly what it looks like to attach a file. So I'm going to click Browse. And then I am going to go to my desktop and upload this picture, which I see the name is there now. But if I don't save it, it's not going to go back. So I'm going to demonstrate that by going back to the original page, clicking on organizational uploads. And then if I scroll down, I see that file didn't stick to my application. So I'll try that again and add that picture and scroll down. And now I'm going to click Save and Upload Attachments. Now I can see that the attachment has stuck on my application because I clicked Save. And you'll need to do that not when you add every document, but certainly if you need to navigate away from this page, I recommend saving frequently. So again, just to summarize the attachments that you'll need, front and back of an ID, your most recent tax return, a copy of your most recent payroll tax payment or receipt, if applicable, a list of employees if you have any, and a government registration document such as articles of incorporation, business license, or doing business as certificate, and lastly, corporate bylaws if you have them. When that is all completed, you will be able to submit the application. Here, a red submit button will appear and the progress bar will change to green. But we won't be able to do that today because we've got everything in progress. So I'm going to stop share now and reiterate that my name is Molly. I am with the United Way of Battle Creek and Kalamazoo region. I will be available to offer assistance with these applications if you should need it, if this video, if you still have questions after this video. So I appreciate your time and I look forward to meeting you, and good luck on your applications.